Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe, Panther III.
Hey, hello there wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and we are in the middle of Women's Wrestling Month. And I figured I had this awesome woman on the podcast that she signifies, like, big word, what women's wrestling is. Let's get him a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Madam Coco. Welcome to Dudes at Ringside, Madam Coco. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to do the podcast today.
Awesome. So, Madam Coco, if my fans from the UK and across the globe, and also let's not forget about my tri-state wrestling buddies. If they're not familiar with you, Miss Coco, introduce yourself.
So my name is Madam Coco. I'm the biggest, the baddest, and most delicious professional wrestler you will ever see in your life. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look how I look right now. But obviously, I've been wrestling for about 6 years now, and it's a passion of mine. I love it. I've wrestled for quite a few companies. My major company that I love to wrestle for is A Matter of Pride, and you can always catch me on one of their shows. And yeah, I've been doing my thing. I've been knocking down some girls and choke slamming some men as well while I'm at it. And it's just been a fun ride so far.
So, Madam Coco, where did it start for you? Like, where did this love of professional wrestling start?
Oh, that started when I was super, super little. I was 7 years old. I was about 7 years old, and I wasn't watching a wrestling at that time, but like it would be on in the living room and I would notice it, but nothing ever caught my attention. But I can tell you the exact moment when I started to fall in love with it and became obsessed was when Trish Stratus, the icon, the former 7-time women's champion, returned in 2006. I believe it was like October or September or something like that. And she returned to help Ashley. And when she was running down that ramp with that championship in hand, when she slid into the ring and tackled Victoria with a Luthez press and was just hammering away with chick kicks and clotheslines, I was like, oh, who is this chick? And from that moment on, I became obsessed with professional wrestling.
Wow, that's awesome. So when did you decide to go into the art of indie wrestling? Like, did you actually go to any indie shows before you jumped in?
So I actually had no experience going to any sort of wrestling shows. I kind of have this thing where this is more so for WWE, but I kind of have this thing where I will not attend a WWE show until I am on it. So it's like a goal of mine to be a part of the WWE, and I don't want to be a part of that audience. I want to be a part of the show. So it's kind of like pushing me to get to that point sometime. In regards to like indie wrestling, no, I did not go to any shows. I remember one time there was an NYWC show, New York Wrestling Connection, and I was gonna go, and I was like, something came up, so I couldn't go, and I was super disappointed. But then, before I actually started training, I stepped inside of a little indie event, and because it was like around the corner, and I was like, you know what, let me just like take a peek. So I took a peek and I was like, oh, I need to do this. Like, this needs to be done. I forget what the show was, but I need to be on like wrestling. I need to start training, and I just didn't know how to get there. But not really, I have not attended too many as a fan, but I definitely want to attend as the star.
I feel the same way too, Coco. Like, I love my independent wrestling. That's why every post you see me post about on Instagram, hashtag support independent wrestling. I have no problem with WWE, or in my case, WWF or WWF, because my grandfather, he was an enhancement talent, and it's where he started. And, but I feel my heart of hearts, my grandfather would always say, Randy, little Panther, my career started with Vince's dad. Don't stop watching the talent, because there's some talents that we'll never know. But I like what you're doing with the independent wrestlers. I never met him, but I know he would say, I love what you're doing with these young wrestlers. You're really helping them. They may never get a chance to meet you and tell you thank you, but by me seeing wrestlers get picked up by be on AEW Dark or be an enhanced talent, the new age 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021 enhancement talents like Becca and like Danny Moe, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that been on Dudes at Ringside this past 4 years of this podcast. I never had Danny Moe on, but like I'm meeting her and feeling her energy and knowing that they're doing this stuff, and I'm bringing them on, and then they win championships, like tons and tons of belts and trophies and things, and I'm like, wow, I don't think I helped, but like maybe the person's like, they were just on your podcast. Maybe I should give them a title. Maybe I should give them a number one contender spot. Maybe I should give them the briefcase. But for you, was it hard to find the training facility you trained at, or was it easier because in this new era of computers?
So I started training on Long Island, and I don't think I actually, prior to going to that one show, I don't think I actually did. I always want to be a professional wrestler. Absolutely. Like it's a dream of every wrestling fan. You want to get into that ring and be the star and be the entertainment and be the top girl or top guy. But finding a training facility in Long Island wasn't really hard because I wasn't looking for one at the time. It kind of snowballed for me. I was working with someone who was doing wrestling training, and we didn't know this about each other, that we were both wrestling fans, let alone I didn't know he was training to be a wrestler and was doing shows and everything like that. So he walked in with like a wrestling shirt, I believe, one day, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. I like wrestling too. And it kind of just hit off. Then he told me about that he trained. And I was like, oh, wait, this could be my opportunity. So I was like, do you guys just like let anyone train? And he was like, yeah, sure. So Kevin, or Percy, his name is right now in the ring, he was like, all right, come along with me. And from that day, back in 2019 or 2018, I just started training. And it wasn't something that I was looking for. It was something that kind of came to me in a sense, a little bit.
Awesome. So when it comes to wrestling, do you feel that sometimes it's harder to get booked as a female wrestler than be, you know what I mean? Like nowadays, people book people, but then they don't book people because they don't feel that they need to be on the roster? Or do you find a way to be like, yeah, I'm doing this?
I think it's I think it's not hard to be booked on a show if you have a good character, if you have a presence. I have been asked to be on multiple shows, and things have happened where I had to decline. But would I have loved to been on the show? Absolutely. I haven't really gone on out seeking because right now I'm kind of happy with where I am at A Matter of Pride. They have my character. I'm always on their shows, and it's just something that's so important to me to curate a character and then dole out, see where else I can go, make myself a staple here, and then see where else I can go. I don't find it hard in regards to bookings. I feel like, not to sound egotistical or something like that, but I feel like if I wanted to be on a show, I don't think I would have an issue being on the show. I think everyone nowadays, especially, it's very open. I think people are looking for talent. I think people are looking for people who have character and presence and an opportunity to shine. And I just don't find it hard to get a booking if you're looking for a booking.
Yeah, I get that. So let's talk about a matter of pride. What is that locker room bite like? I know there's probably an awesome vibe in that locker room amongst everybody.
Yeah, I have to say it's the most welcoming vibe I've experienced in the shows I've been on. I've worked with A Matter of Pride recently, well, last year or 2 years ago, I worked with UPW in upstate New York, and I mean, I haven't had any crazy stories or anything like that. Everyone is very supportive in locker rooms usually. But a Matter of Pride is different. I feel like that a Matter of Pride locker room, there's so many girls, guys, and queens that really want the show to elevate. And especially, like, I have to say, Rick Cataldo, who is the promoter for A Matter of Pride, he wants his show to accelerate everyone on the show and showcase everyone in some sort of light. So when it comes to the backstage part, everyone is so supportive. Everyone shows up. Everyone shows up with the intent to actually do what they need to do on the show. And it's just a fun vibe backstage. Everyone is so chill. There's no like drama or issues to my knowledge. But
Mm.
yeah, to my knowledge,
Hey,
that locker room is the best I've been a
where are
part
they
of.
based out of? Because I definitely got to tell my sassy sister, Sassy Chica, because I know Sassy went with me to Warriors of Wrestling, and she's not a big wrestling fan, but she automatically felt like my brother is a celebrity. He doesn't even know. It's like he doesn't even go here, and wrestling fans are seeing the red glasses and the blue coat, and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" They're like, "What is this dude? And who is this? Why is he here? Like, where are they located?"
So, A Matter of Pride, we kind of do shows everywhere. So, I know we've done shows in DC, we've done shows in Rhode Island, we've done shows in Brooklyn, we've done shows in Pennsylvania. So, they
Mm,
kind of travel up and down the Northeast area.
okay.
Um, I know we have a show coming up in February. I believe it's going to be in Brooklyn as well, which I'm excited
Ooh.
for.
When in
Um,
Brooklyn? Do you have the exact dates yet?
so I know one of the dates is February 14th.
Okay.
It's
Valentine's
7
Day,
PM.
bummer.
Don't quote me on this. 7 PM, I
Valentine's Day,
believe.
bummer.
But yes, on the 14th of February, 7 PM, we're supposed to be at Brooklyn at, oh my God, what's the place? Oh, I
I
should be
know.
prepared with this.
I
But
know.
yeah, no. We do shows everywhere. They kind of like get the venue and then, promote it and get as many people in as possible. And it's always a good time.
Mm. So, what out of all the like wrestling moments you remember that you've been in, what has been like your moment? Like, let's go back to 2024. What was your moment in 2024?
So 2024 was a hard year for me. I did not even technically wrestle in 2024 because
Mm.
at the beginning of 2024, I broke my leg in three places.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I was kind of out of 2024 for myself. Did I do a few shows for A Matter of Pride, just character driven wise? Yes, but I never like actually full on deep dived and participated in A Matter of Pride or anywhere. I kind of had to take a step back and heal from the injury. But if I were to say career wise so far, my I have two biggest moments. One
Okay.
is my debut at A Matter of Pride. I was so lucky that Rick Cataldo trusted me to have a moment with the great icon, the living legend, Melina Perez.
Ooh,
Yeah, so for
Molina.
my
Boom. The split.
yep. So
Did you
for my
ask her how to do the split at least?
You know what? I wasn't even gonna try because there's no way I was gonna do a split.
I would have SpongeBob and then ripped my pants. That would have been.
Literally. But yeah, so he really trusted me in building this character of Coco Moose for A Matter of Pride. And that first initial show, he was just, I remember I was at work one day and he was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're big, you're destructive. We can do this way. We're going to have you debut and take out everyone, including Melina. When
Oh
I
my
tell,
god.
yeah, when I tell you I was at work and the biggest scream came out of my mouth, like I was like, no way, this is not real right now. So that show came up in June of 2019. And I was just like, oh, this is so iconic. This is so good. And Melina was so sweet behind stage, backstage. She was like, all right, we're going to do it this way. We're going to make sure everything goes perfect. And that moment for me was just I was so grateful for it because I mean, you get to take out Melina Perez in your first night. That's crazy.
But the Molina thing, did you when you took her out in that situation, did you go back to when she was like the big name in the WWE or WWF?
As in, like,
In your mind when you had a chance to work with her, did your mind go back to the Ruthless Aggression when she was winning the women's title all the time and or
yes.
working with Eminem? Like
Oh, yes.
was your brain going,
So
oof?
that was the time when I started actually watching wrestling because that was the last year when Trish was actually a part of the WWE. And then kind of you had Candace come up, you had Melina come up, you had Ashley do her stints. And I remember watching Melina. I mean, her match with Beth Phoenix, where I believe it was an I Quit match at Extreme Rules. I was like, thinking back to that. I was thinking back to her match at SummerSlam. I was thinking back to her match with Michelle McCool at Night of Champions. I believe it was 2010. And all these great moments that she was a part of that I felt like, oh my God, I get to be a part of a moment with an icon. So it definitely came flooding back with memories of her, especially with Eminem and just doing the splits with Johnny Nitro and just her sex appeal. It was really fun to like get into that frame of mind. Like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to have a moment with Melina. It was iconic.
Yeah, that's something to have an iconic moment with a female wrestler like that. So I know nowadays a lot of wrestlers are taking risks. And I don't know if your promoter lets you guys do this, but have you ever encountered a hardcore match in your promotion yet? And if you haven't, would you ever go to that risk and do like a hardcore match that sometimes can risk the bleeding or blading yourself?
So I definitely have strong opinions on that. I'm a very more so less is more sometimes. Unless the story calls for it, there's no need for some crazy hardcore match. Would I be willing to do something like that? Absolutely. I think in wrestling, you always have to push yourself to do things that either you're uncomfortable doing or maybe haven't done yet. I am totally not uncomfortable doing some sort of hardcore match. I would love it. It's just that I don't think anything story-wise for me has resulted in a place for me to be put in that kind of match or situation. I won't do just some hardcore match just because a promoter wants to do a hardcore match. I just don't feel that it benefits myself. I don't feel like it benefits someone else, putting us in kind of, jeopardy in regards to injury or something like that. I
Yeah.
think you do have to work very safe. In regards to hardcore matches, anything can go wrong. In regards to any match, anything can go wrong. And I'm very grateful that I have had guidance throughout my career so far, especially from Rick. He was just like, less is more. We can do so much less with you and still make you so impactful that you don't need to go and do dives. I love Hurricane Ranas. I love all those moves. I can do them. But in a matter of pride, Rick is like, you don't even need to do any of that. You just need to stand there and be the star. So am I willing to do things of that nature? Absolutely. But the story has to call for it.
Yeah, that's true because you never know with wrestling. That's why they always say wrestling. You take a risk even walking out of the curtain. You could slip on somebody's sweat that they went back into the back and they sweat. They're like he or she could have sweat and you didn't see it. You walk through the curtain, break your leg, break an ankle, take an ankle out because those boots. Those wrestling boots. They may have give on them, but they can only take so much sweat or like saliva or blood, or someone could accidentally spill the soda and you could take that risk and fall and break your neck.
Yeah.
So, if my fans, well, actually, since this episode is going to be airing around the time you told me it was going to air, is there any shows coming up that you want to talk about or promote before the tickets
Yeah.
are on
So
sale?
definitely the Matter of Pride show, February 14th, 7 p.m. It's going to be Brooklyn. It's going to be big. You can also follow me on Instagram, where that's where I post where I'm going to be in regards to events and shows like that. You can also follow the A Matter of Pride account on Instagram as well, and you can see everything there. But that's the one show that is coming up next for me that I want everyone to go to because it's going to be big. It's going to be very dramatic, and I can guarantee you I am going to make sure people bleed.
Awesome. So, before we go, is there any advice for any young upcoming wrestlers that are just getting into the game that you want to give for any young kids today? Like
If
teens, I
you
don't mean kids, like teens.
Yeah, like if you're a wrestling fan and you're thinking like, "Oh, this is something I want to do," just go for it. Don't wait, don't waste your time. Just find somewhere to train no matter where you are, even though it may be far away, somehow find a way to get there. You will thank yourself in the long run for pushing yourself to actually do something that you love. It's gratifying and fulfilling to know that you are a part of something in your life that you've always loved, and it's going to push you. It's definitely something that's going to push you and make sure that you become a stronger person for sure.
Madam Coco, I want to thank you so much for coming on Dudes at Ringside. Definitely go check her out on Instagram. Please go check out Matter Pride. I definitely want to hang out with your promoter. It sounds like he is such an awesome dude, like me and the ring dudes in my Ringside crew. I am Joe Panther III,
I'm Madam Coco.
and we will catch you in the next one.